Yeah, okay. So Benjamin Sesko with the winner off the bench for the second successive game. So are we really beginning to see, actually, Ashley, why they paid £70 million for this man?
Well, it's a lot of money, but we are, he's coming up with some important goals, and I'm happy for him as well, because he really struggled at the start, like all the Manchester United players did, but he especially did, and now you're starting to see he's putting the finishing touch on moves like this, which is this really isn't about Sesko, this goal, for me personally. It's a great ball from Cunha, and Mbeumo does his thing, and it's the run that we'll see that makes the goal. But he's coming up, his movement, he's showing now that he is a good player. So I've got to admit, I didn't see much of him abroad, and when he first come, I was a little bit, weren't sure myself. I couldn't see it at all. Whereas now I'm starting to see how clever he is in and around the box, movement from crosses, and he's starting to look like the real deal. They've got a conundrum on their hands. I know everyone's talking about it. Should he start? Should he not? That's the real conundrum. But realistically, if you've paid out all that money in the summer to go and get those players, and the players are now showing what they're all about, and they're getting you out of situations like last night where maybe you're not playing as good as you want to play, those three players link up and get you out of trouble, which is exactly what you brought them in for. What
we do see is speed. I mean, it's extraordinary, the pace, the movement he's got.
He's obviously very fast, but what I love about it is the desire. You can be as fast as you want, but if you don't have that desire to go and get your goal and go and win the game and get in the end, you can see by his celebration, he was so pumped up for that. So when that ball gets played forward and it's between you and the defender, he could have jogged. We see it every week where you just jog and you hope your mate Mbeumo goes and does a bit of magic and scores a goal, but he was like, no, I'm going in the hope that this falls to me exactly where it did. So I love that about him, that he wants to score goals. He's got the desire to do that, 85-yard sprint and the pace with it to get on the end of it. And fair play to him. To answer your original question, he looks like he's coming up good for the money at the minute, but I don't want to speak too soon.
Yeah, it was a great goal. I loved it, and absolutely agree with everything Ashley said about the desire to get up there. I think it was clocked at almost 22 miles an hour, one of the fastest sprints in the Premier League. But you talk about the pace, right? And what I loved about here we go. That's 21, 22 miles an hour there. This is the fastest forwards by Premier League strikers this season. Will Asula top, but Benjamin Sesko's obviously right up there. But what I also really liked about that, not only did he get up to the top speed, but he slowed down. And when he received the ball, when he struck the ball, he was travelling at almost 15 miles an hour. So he was able to slow himself down, composure, plant the foot, and still finish. I mean, I've done it in five-a-side when you run up to that. I mean, I know you've done
that?
No. I was going to say, I've done it where I've ballooned it over the cage. It's gone outside. But when you're running onto a ball like that, to slow yourself down, composure, and put it in the bottom corner, that's what I love. The deceleration, not only the top speed. But listen, I know not everyone's at home watching the Premier League show, but I bet you should be every day. But we did do a piece on the Premier League show January the 8th. I've actually reposted it on my X feed today if anyone wants to go back. But against Burnley, we did a piece on how quick he was. And he's rapid. He's absolutely rapid. And particularly, when he defends corners, right? So when he defends corners, one of his positions is basically right on top of the goal line. And United have launched a couple of quick breaks, and he has flown from one end of the pitch to the other to try and get on the end of things. And I think that's one of his most underrated characteristics, really. Everyone sees the frame, everyone sees the size, but actually his movement is absolutely fantastic. He's able to move that size of body so quick. His runs in behind, I think only Brian Mbeumo has had more runs in behind than Sesko this season. So mobility-wise, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, rapid. He has been used as a bit of an impact sub by Michael Carrick. Do you feel from him a bit? That looks like might be his role at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, because all players want to play. Everybody wants to start. There's not, I don't know. I've never come across a player that wants to come off the bench or start games on the bench. But Michael, it's working for Manchester United at the minute. So why would you change that? And as a manager, you do have to think about, how do I impact this game if things aren't going well? Now, at the minute for Manchester United, he's the best change that they can make, if that makes sense. So if you think about taking somebody else out of that front four, maybe Cunha, but you wouldn't do that. So I think the key to this situation is the manager communicating the situation with his player. Now, I'd like to think Michael Carrick is, because he's a really good communicator, and he's just explaining, look, don't drop in your levels, or don't become it's not a confidence thing. Just stay at it, and your time will come. You will get starts, but at the minute, we need to use you, all of us. We're all benefiting with you coming off the bench. So stay patient with me. No, don't get upset about it. And I do think Michael Carrick will be communicating that. And if he does that, it'll be okay. But you do feel for him, because as football players, you work up all week to play that game, and when you sit on the bench, it's not fun. And especially when you keep coming off and scoring, he's going to be saying, I'm doing my job. But I can see where the manager's coming from, saying, well, if I start you, which is who do I take out? And then who's going to make an impact if we are 0-0 at Everton away and we need somebody to come on and score a goal? At the minute, unfortunately, you're the man to do that.
It's funny though, because we spoke a little bit before we came on air, didn't we? And I was trying to think of somebody, but the only one for me is maybe Leandro Trossard, that actually did that a lot for Arsenal last season, and look what's happened this season. He's, in the starting 11, so maybe that's where he's, Michael Carrick's going to have that conversation if he gets the job permanently, of course. If we look about Sesko, can we kind of compare him to somebody that did something rather remarkable back in 1999? Well, super sub, the original super sub.
The letters in his name are shared, that's for sure.
Yes, I like it.
Solskjaer and Sesko.
Yeah.
I think, look, I think the thing is as well, United want to be playing in all the competitions, and the fact is this season they're not, and maybe Sesko would have got more minutes had United have gone deeper in the FA Cup, for example.
Yeah.
But if you look at actually Solskjaer's record at Manchester United compared to Sesko, small sample size, I will give you that. But have a look at Solskjaer here. He had a better record coming off the bench, almost a goal per 90 minutes coming off the bench. But if you look at also Benjamin Sesko as well, it's very similar, the numbers of him coming off the bench for goals per 90. So, look, Ashley knows, of course, players want to start, they want to play. But I just wonder, he's got loads of time. He's 22. He's got loads of time to establish himself in this Manchester United first team. Maybe right now, this is the best role for him.
Yeah, and also, just to add on to that, it might be a case of Michael Carrick's protecting him a little bit as well, because the minute he starts and doesn't perform well, we're all going to have something to say about it. So maybe the manager's just saying, do you know what, let me just protect this boy a little bit, and I'll put him on when I need to put him on, and now he gets his rewards. Instead of, if he starts the next game and he doesn't score, he doesn't play very well, the critics come straight out again. So, we're going to get the comparisons with Solskjaer, and I don't think anyone really would want that tag, apart from Solskjaer, who seemed to thrive on it. But I don't see Sesko as being a long-term super sub at all. I think, like you say, next season maybe, he'll be leading the line for Manchester United. I'm
interested to hear you say about the fact that, perhaps he's being protected a little bit, because Gyökeres, at times hasn't quite shone for Arsenal, and then kind of it hadn't quite worked out, but it seems to be really working out right now. Who would you prefer to come up against, Gyökeres or Sesko?
If I was playing Gyökeres, just because he likes more of a physical battle, and I always like the physical battle. And as I was saying before, Sesko's really clever in the box. Really, he tends to lull the defender to sleep a little bit, and he'll pop up, and they're the difficult ones to play against. Me personally, I used to like it when I'd have a fight the whole game. It would keep you switched on. So, but within saying that, I think Gyökeres at the minute is probably playing better and showing more signs of being a good player than Sesko, if that makes sense. But for me personally, I liked one that was done a good battle in a game. All right, we'll let you two tussle then.